Thank you very much, Dr. Ola. And it's a pleasure to be here in this conference. My name is Miray Barsoum. I am a professor of entrepreneurship in Monarch Business School, Switzerland, but I also am heavily involved in women's empowerment in Egypt. I am the director of ecosystem development at Nile University in Egypt, and I am also a co-founding member of the Women Entrepreneurs Network in Egypt. So this hits very close to home. Imagine removing the GDP of France, Italy, and Spain from the world every year. This is the amount of lost opportunity that the world is suffering from by not empowering women in entrepreneurship. Globally, less than 30% of high growth and innovative entrepreneurs are women. And the lost opportunity of supporting women in entrepreneurship effectively is a loss of creating more than 400 million new jobs annually and creating an incremental 7 trillion incremental increase to the GDP. In developing economies, this number, this 30% is much lower, of course, due to many factors that we will be discussing and the research has revealed. And Egypt, unfortunately, ranks amongst the lowest percentage of women in entrepreneurship worldwide. Despite very high startup intention rate, higher than the global average and higher than developing economy average, it has one of the lowest ever startup activity. Average on 3.6% of startup activity is based on women in entrepreneurship. Women co-founders also are very limited. Only 12.6% of businesses in Egypt are co-founded by women. And the discontinuation rate is 7.4%, which is significantly higher than the global average and the developing economy average. The significance of this research is that less than 20% of entrepreneurship research in developing economies is focused on women. So there is a very clear theoretical gap, as well as a huge praxis gap that needs to understand why, despite the high intention and the tremendous possibility and potential of empowering women entrepreneurship, there is still this very low startup activity rate and success rate. The research objective was to identify the journey of empowering women in entrepreneurship, understanding the journey, and coming up with actionable and practical recommendations on how women in entrepreneurship can be fostered towards success, therefore realize this huge potential. The research question was what are the characteristics of a new conceptual model to describe the journey of empowering women in entrepreneurship, and develop practical recommendations on how this can be implemented. The research was based on a triangulation methodology, reviewing the literature on entrepreneurship theory, social justice theory with specific focus on gender theories, as well as empowerment theories. The field research was based on qualitative methodology using a phenomenological approach, and content analysis of recent what we call quasi-technical research reports and technical details from the different support organizations. The interviews that were conducted were 72 interviews, 46 women entrepreneurs from different stages, nascent entrepreneurs, early stage entrepreneurs, late stage entrepreneurs, as well as women that have exited their businesses, and 26 experts from the different ecosystem players according to the Eisenberg model, which included policymakers, financial institutions, academic institutions, support organizations, R&D, people working in the media, in the culture, as well as those that offer complementary services from the market. Data was collected through semi-structured interviews and transcribed, and thematic analysis as well as interpretive phenomenological analysis was done to reveal 22 themes, and trustworthiness was employed through to ensure credibility, transferability, dependability, and conformability of the research. That included reflexivity to avoid my own bias, journaling, prolonged interviewing, expert reviewing, just to make sure that the results were credible. The findings revealed, after this analysis, the findings revealed that the empowerment journey of a woman in entrepreneurship consists of 3 stages. The first stage are the preconditions for empowerment or for empowering women in entrepreneurship, and these constituted of personal factors, intrinsic as well as extrinsic to the woman herself, social factors, including social norms, gender roles, and societal support in general, and ecosystem factors that discuss the availability of resources and equitable ecosystem for women in entrepreneurship. The second stage was the empowerment process, and research has revealed that empowerment occurs across 3 levels. Empowerment on an individual level to the woman herself, empowerment on an organizational level, which addresses the firm itself and how empowered the firm is, and empowerment within the community as to how the community and the ecosystem actually supports these women. And the power dimensions that were used were empowerment within the woman herself, which reflected her confidence, her self-esteem to believe she can do this. Empowerment to inflict change, which reflected her agency and decision-making capabilities. Empower with the community, that reflected her relationship with the community and how empowered she is within the structure that she works with. And empowerment over resources and opportunities, which reflected how equitable the ecosystem was. And this step includes recommendations on how this can be done, and integrated some transformational changes that had to be included, which include perceptual change to achieve the empowerment within herself through confidence building, through mentorship, through self-esteem programs, cognitive change through capacity building programs to improve her self-efficacy and her ability to implement whatever she needs through skills and competencies. Ecosystem support that produces material change that allows her to have equitable opportunities and resources to actually succeed as an entrepreneur, and relational change through societal support and gender mainstreaming that allows her to interact with the community properly and with the ecosystem in order to proceed within her journey towards success. And the third outcome, and the third stage, is outcome of empowerment, which basically describes what success is to a woman entrepreneur, specifically in developing economies. And the main highlight of this was women define on success in qualitative measures, not the typical quantitative measures. And this was significant in how support should be provided to women, because the current support system that was revealed through the expert interviews, comparing the expert interviews and insights with the women, is that support organizations value traditional business-related quantitative measures for success, while women value their impact, the feedback from the community, the feedback from her customers, and the ability to achieve and make a difference, much more than just financial returns. This is, of course, includes a feedback loop. Empowerment is a journey that cannot end. No one reaches empowerment and is therefore empowered. You always need to work on this, and therefore the outcomes were across different levels. Number one, ecosystem recommendations were designed, and included short-term, medium-term, and long-term recommendations to the key players within the ecosystem based on the Eisenberg model, which included policy, finance, support, culture, human capital, R&D, and tech transfer, and markets. So each of these groups received recommendations to implement short-term, medium-term, and long-term. Another thing is a design of targeted interventions to support the psychological support that is necessary, capacity building support that is necessary, including the skills and competencies that need to be developed specifically for women in entrepreneurship in developing economies, ecosystem support on how an ecosystem should be built and improved to better support gender equity and equality within the ecosystem, and societal support to create gender sensitization and mainstreaming across the society. Another outcome was a gender mainstreaming blueprint that was presented and actually implemented within the center. We launched the WEMPOWER program by the aid of the US aid when there was when this still existed, but we got a fund and we actually created a program that is based on this model to empower women in entrepreneurship, and we were able to serve 1,000 women, more than 1,000 women, through a specific blueprint that empowered them. And finally, and closest to my heart, is that a scorecard is currently being developed to assess how empowered a woman entrepreneur is across the different levels, individual level, organizational level, and community level, and that will help her develop her own development plan to improve, and will help coaches on how to coach women better. It will help organizations understand how they can gender mainstream this, and finally it will help the governments and the policymakers and the developing agencies get a snapshot on how empowered women are in a particular country, and therefore design a more equitable ecosystem for them. Future prospects, of course, are improving, mainstreaming this across other developing economies, and perhaps comparing this to developing economies, cross-cultural, cross-country, and everything. A mixed method approach would be interesting to maybe weight the different factors that affect this, as well as longitudinal studies on how to assess the effectiveness of these interventions. This was already researched, and there are some criteria, but maybe we have to implement these criteria and KPIs to see how effective it is. And I would like to finish my presentation with a quote by Christine Lagarde, who is the IMF president, and when she said, "When women do better, economies do better." And I believe that this is a mission that is valuable and honorable, and I am very pleased to be part of. Thank you very much.